Hello, family and friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Shauna, and thanks for being here today. And as you can see, I'm still at sea, but I'm in port. Today we're in Cozumel, Mexico. I thought we were going to be in Grand Cayman today, but it's that's in a day or two. So today we're in Cozumel, Mexico. So there's a little view for you. I have a short excursion. I'm gonna go on a sightseeing tour. So let's go ahead and pray and get started. Lord, thank you for every single soul gathered here today. Thank you for everyone who can hear my voice. Please give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to gain some insight and inspiration from your text. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, friends, we have quite a bit of reading today. We gotta finish 4 and read through 8. So I'll go ahead and get started with our review from yesterday. So yesterday we started at chapter 1 in 1 Samuel at verse 9. And so for my review for chapter 1, the remainder of chapter 1 was Hannah and Elkanah, her husband is Elkanah. They prayed for a son and vowed to dedicate him to the Lord if they were blessed with a son. And Hannah would go to the temple and pray, and that's where she met Eli the priest, and he also prayed for her. And after that, they did give birth to a son named Samuel. And then after Samuel, God blessed them to have 3 boys and 2 girls. So God didn't just give her a son, she gave him 4 sons and 2 girls. But of course, they dedicated Samuel to the Lord, which literally meant he lived at the temple. So we read yesterday how it said once he weaned, he pretty much took him to the temple. And Eli the priest basically raised him, from what it appears anyway. Chapter 2 was Hannah's prayer, and so that was a beautiful prayer that she had, and she was all about thanks and praise to the Lord for blessing her with children. And then in chapter 2, we also met Eli's worthless sons. So Eli's worthless sons, they were not of God, and they didn't honor God like Eli did. And I thought about that. Preacher's kids, that's what we kind of say, PK, preacher's kids. And sadly, a lot of times, not always, but, when kids are raised by, in the church, sometimes they rebel. But anyway, moving on. The Lord rejects Eli's household because his sons dishonored God, and Eli failed to, I'm trying to think of what it said in the Bible, restrain, there it is. Eli didn't restrain his sons. He pretty much let them run amok. So God is gonna curse his family. And we see what happened in chapter 3. The Lord calls Samuel, was the beginning of that chapter actually. And so Samuel is said that he's seen a vision. So Samuel was given the gift of vision, seeing visions and being able to interpret the word of God. So he is established as a prophet as he grows up, because at this point Eli's eyes are dimmed, and he is about to suffer the loss of his sons. And so that leads us into chapter 4. But before we go out of chapter 3, when God first revealed himself to Samuel, he told Samuel to go tell Eli, to give Eli this message. And the message was that his whole household he told him what was going to happen. So it's interesting that God called Samuel to tell Eli instead of calling Eli to tell Eli, right? And then in chapter 4, the Philistines defeated Israel and captured the Ark of the Covenant. Isn't that crazy? So they stole the sacred vessel. But I already read ahead, it's not going to end well for them. Eli's sons was killed in chapter 4, along with 30,000 Israel soldiers. So God's people suffered a great defeat in chapter 4. And that leads us to our reading today, Our reading today, we start in chapter 4 at verse 12. Okay, so here we go. 12. A man of Benjamin ran from the battle lines and came to Shiloh the same day with his clothes torn and with dirt on his head. When he arrived, Eli was sitting on his seat by the road watching, for his heart trembled for the ark of God. And when the man came into the city and told the news, all the city cried out. When Eli heard the sound of the outcry, he said, "What is this uproar?" Then the man hurried and came and told Eli. Now Eli was 98 years old, and his eyes were set so that he could not see. And the man said to Eli, "I am he who has come from the battle. I fled from the battle today." And he said, "How did it go, my son?" 17. He who brought the news answered and said, "Israel has fled before the Philistines, and there has been a great defeat among the people. Your two sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God has been captured." 18. As soon as he mentioned the ark of God, Eli fell over backwards from his seat by the side of the gate, and his neck was broken, and he died, for the man was old and heavy. He had judged Israel 40 years. So, check that out. Eli didn't die at the news of his sons. He died when he told him the Ark of the Covenant was captured. You know, he already knew that his sons were going to die, remember? Because Samuel told him that. And he knew that his sons were wicked. So he, I'm sure he loved them, but, apparently he loved God more, the Ark of God more. 19. Now his daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant, about to give birth. And when she heard the news that the Ark of God was captured and that her father-in-law and her husband were dead, she bowed and gave birth, for her pains came upon her. And about the time of her death, the women attending her said to her, "Do not be afraid, for you have borne a son." But she did not answer or pay attention. And she named the child Ichabod, saying, "The glory has departed from Israel, because the ark of God has been captured, and because of her father-in-law and her husband." And she said, "The glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured." So one of the sons, the wife of Phinehas, she died, giving childbirth. She died because the news was so terrifying on her that she lost her husband and her son, her husband and her father-in-law in one day. But again, the ark of God. Wow. So sad. All right, let's move on. That was the end of chapter 4. Now let's go to chapter 5. The Philistines and the ark. When the Philistines captured the ark of God, they brought it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then the Philistines took the ark of God and brought it into the house of Dagon and set it up beside Dagon. That's a big statue of something that they pray to, a false god. It's an idol. 3. And when the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, behold, Dagon had fallen face downward on the ground before the ark of the Lord. So they took Dagon and put him back in his place. But when they rose early the next morning, behold, Dagon had fallen face downward on the ground before the ark of the Lord. And the head of Dagon and both his hands were lying cut off on the threshold. Only the trunk of Dagon was left to him. This is why the priests of Dagon and all who enter the house of Dagon do not tread on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod to this day. God's got a sense of humor. He's like, don't be putting me next to no idol, some big old statue of, dragon, who knows what it is, right? And so the first night he just threw it down, made it fall down, and then he cut it to pieces. And he's like, I'll show you. You better get away from me. I'm holy. You're nothing. You're a graven image. Verse 6. The hand of the Lord was heavy against the people of Ashdod, and he terrified and afflicted them with tumors. both Ashdod and its territory. Sounds like leprosy. 7. And when the men of Ashdod saw how things were, they said, the ark of the God of Israel must not remain with us, for his hand is hard against us and against Dagon our God. So they sent and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines and said, what shall we do with this ark of God of Israel? With the ark of the God of Israel. They answered, let the ark of the God of Israel be brought around to Gath. So they brought the ark of the God of Israel there. 9. But after they had brought it around, the hand of the Lord was against the city, causing a very great panic, and he afflicted the men of the city, both young and old, so that tumors broke out on them. So they sent the ark of God to Ekron. But as soon as the ark of God came to Ekron, the people of Ekron cried out, they have brought around to us the ark of the God of Israel to kill us and our people. They sent therefore and gathered together all the lords of the Philistines and said, send away the ark of the God of Israel and let it return to its own place, that it may not kill us and our people. For there was a deathly panic throughout the whole city. The hand of God was very heavy there. The men who did not die were struck with tumors, and the cry of the city went up to heaven. Ooh, they captured the ark. I bet they regret that. They're trying to get rid of that ark. All right. Chapter 6. The ark returned to Israel. After all those afflictions, they're probably like, y'all can have this thing. Oh, chapter 6. The ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines 7 months. Oh, they kept it that long? They kept it for 7 months? They're cleaning the windows. Oh, look, you guys get a bonus feature. The only thing about it, I wish they would go back through with a towel because it just leaves the rain spots all over the glass. Anyway, I'll try to stay focused. 1 Samuel chapter 6. Where was we when they said verse 1. The ark of the Lord was in the country of the Philistines for 7 months. And the Philistines called for the priests and the diviners and said, what shall we do with the ark of the Lord? Tell us with what we shall send it to its place. They said, if you send away the ark of the God of Israel, do not send it empty, but by all means return him a guilt offering. Then you will be healed, and it will be known to you why his hand does not turn away from you. 4. And they said, what is the guilt offering that we shall return to him? They answered, 5 golden tumors and 5 golden mice, according to the number of the lords of the Philistines, for the same plague was on all of you and your lords. So you must make images of your tumors and images of your mice that ravage the land, and give glory to the God of Israel. Perhaps he will lighten his hand from off you and your gods and your land. 6. Why should you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts? After he had dealt severely with them, did they not send the people away and they departed? 7. Now then, take and prepare a new cart and 2 milk cows on which there was never come a yoke, and yoke the cows to the cart, but take their calves home away from them. 8. And take the ark of the Lord and place it on the cart and put it in a box at its side, and at its side the figures of gold which you are returning to him as a guilt offering. Then send it off and let it go its way and watch. If it goes up on the way to its own land to Beth-Shemesh, then it is he who has done us this great harm. But if not, then we shall know that it is not his hand that struck us. It happened to us by coincidence. 10. The men did so, and took 2 milk cows and yoked them to the cart and shut up their calves at home. And they put the ark of the Lord on the cart and the buck with the golden mice and the images of their tumors. And the cows went straight in the direction of Bethshemesh along one highway, lowing as they went. They turned neither to the right nor to the left, and the lords of the Philistines went after them as far as the border of Bethshemesh. 13. Now the people of Bethshemesh were reaping their wheat harvest in the valley, and when they lifted up their eyes and saw the ark, they rejoiced to see it. 14. The cart came into the field of Joshua of Bethshemesh and stopped there. A great stone was there, and they split up the wood of the cart and offered the cows as a burnt offering to the Lord. 15. And the Levites took down the ark of the Lord and the box that was beside it, in which were the golden figurines, and set them upon the great stone. And the men of Bethshemesh offered burnt offerings and sacrifices on that day to the Lord. And when the 5 lords of the Philistines saw it, they returned that day to Ekron. 17. These are the golden tumors that the Philistines returned as the guilt offering to the Lord: 1 for Ashdod, 1 for Gaza, 1 for Ashkelon, 1 for Gath, 1 for Ekron. 18. And the golden mice according to the number of the cities of the Philistines belonging to the 5 lords, both fortified cities and unwalled villages. That the great stone beside which they set down the ark of the Lord is a witness to this day in the field of Joshua of Bethshemesh. 19. And he struck some of the men of Bethshemesh because they looked upon the ark of the Lord. He struck 70 men of them, and the people mourned because the Lord had struck the people with a great blow. Then the men of Bethshemesh said, "Who is able to stand before the Lord, this holy God? And to whom shall he go up away from us?" So they sent messengers to the inhabitants of Kiriath-Jearim, saying, "The Philistines have returned the ark of the Lord. Come down and take it up to you." I was just reading slow because in my effort of trying to understand as I read, but I'll just wait and review that tomorrow. Let's keep going. We got a little bit of reading, 2 more chapters to go. Hang in there. 1 Samuel chapter 7. And the men of Kiriath-Jearim came and took up the ark of the Lord and brought it to the house of Abinadab on the hill. And he consecrated his son Eleazar to charge of the ark of the Lord. From the day that the ark was lodged at Kiriath-Jearim, a long time passed, some 20 years, and all the house of Israel lamented after the Lord. Wow. Samuel judges Israel. And Samuel said to all the house of Israel, "If you are returning to the Lord with all your heart, then put away the foreign gods and the Ashtaroth from among you, and direct your heart to the Lord and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hands of the Philistines." So the people of Israel put away the Baals and the Ashtaroths, and they served the Lord only. So in the meantime, so the ark was gone 20 years, and in the meantime, they erected graven images and Ashtaroths and Baals, which is idols. Wow. 5. Then Samuel said, "Gather all Israel at Mizpah, and I will pray to the Lord for you." So they gathered at Mizpah and drew water and poured it out before the Lord and fasted on that day and said there, "We have sinned against the Lord." And Samuel judged the people of Israel at Mizpah. Now when the Philistines heard that the people of Israel had gathered at Mizpah, the lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. I just caught that. So Samuel is a prophet and a judge. And when the people of Israel heard of it, they were afraid of the Philistines. 8. And the people of Israel said to Samuel, "Do not cease to cry out to the Lord our God for us, that he may save us from the hand of the Philistines." So Samuel took a nursing lamb and offered it as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. And Samuel cried out to the Lord for Israel, and the Lord answered him. As Samuel was offering up the burnt offering, the Philistines drew near to attack Israel, But the Lord thundered with a mighty sound that day against the Philistines and threw them into confusion, and they were defeated before Israel. And the men of Israel went out from Mizpah and pursued the Philistines and struck them as far as Beth-kar. 12. Then Samuel took a stone and set it up between Mizpah and Shean and called its name Ebenezer, for he said, "Till now the Lord has helped us." So the Philistines were subdued and did not again enter the territory of Israel. And the hand of the Lord was against the Philistines all the days of Samuel. 14. The cities that the Philistines had taken from Israel were restored to Israel, from Ekron to Gath, and Israel delivered their territory from the hand of the Philistines. There was peace also between Israel and the Amorites. 15. Samuel judged Israel all the days of his life, and he went on a circuit year by year to Bethel, Gilgal, and Mizpah, and he judged Israel in all these places. Then he would return to Ramah, for his home was there, and there also he judged Israel, and he built an altar to the Lord. Oh, so Samuel was a good guy. Samuel did good things. All right. Let me pause. I got a call coming in. Never mind. I'm going to let that go to voicemail, because if I pause, then my video will stop. Then I'll have to link it together, and I don't want to do all that. We're almost done. Samuel chapter 8. 1 Samuel chapter 8. Israel demands a king. When Samuel became old, he made his sons judge over Israel. So when Samuel became old, he made his sons judges. I didn't catch Samuel's sons, because for me in my head, Samuel went from being anointed, Eli dying, being anointed, and becoming a prophet. But now he's a judge and he has sons. I didn't read the wife part, the kids part. I missed all that. Well, I'm sure it all happened, but I don't recall reading that. Anyway, when Samuel became old, he made his sons judges over Israel. The names of his firstborn was Joel. Oh, now they tell us. Joel. And the name of his second, Abijad. They were judges in Beersheba. Yet his sons did not walk in the ways, but turned aside after gain. Ooh. They took bribes and perverted justice. Sounds like Eli's boys, huh? 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered together and came to Samuel at Ramah and said to him, "Behold, you are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint for us a king to judge us like all the nations." But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, "Give us a king to judge us." And Samuel prayed to the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, "Obey the voice of the people in all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them." 8. According to all the deeds that they have done from the day I brought them out of Egypt, even to this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are also doing to you. Now then, obey their voice. Only you shall solemnly warn them and show them the ways of the king who shall reign over them. Okay, so they want a king. God said, okay, go ahead and give them one. But tell them this. Tell them how it's going to end. Samuel's warning against kings. 10. So Samuel told all the words of the Lord to the people who were asking for a king from him. He said, "These will be the ways of the king who will reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them to his chariots and be his horsemen and to run before his chariots. And he will appoint for himself commanders of thousands and commanders of 50s, and some to plow his ground and to reap his harvest, and to make his implements of war and the equipment of his chariots. He will take your daughters to be perfumers and cooks and bakers. He will take the best of your fields and vineyards and olive orchards and give them to his servants." 15. He will take the tenth of your grain and of your vineyards and give it to his officers and to his servants. He will take your male servants and female servants and the best of your young men and your donkeys and put them to his work. 17, he will take the tenth of your flock, and you shall be his slaves. And in the day you will cry out because of your king, whom you have chosen for yourselves, but the Lord will not answer you in that day. So that's what they're going to get. He's warning them. 19, the Lord grants Israel's request, but the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, "No, but there shall be a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us to fight our battles." And when Samuel heard all the words of the people, he repeated them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, "Obey their voice and make them a king." Samuel then said to the men of Israel, "Go every man to his city." Okay, and that's how that ended. That's our reading for today. I can't wait to find out how that ends. You know, it's going to be bad. All right, friends. Well, before you go, I'll review this and have a little review in the morning. My quick church announcements. Hey, Youngstown, Ohio. Saying a little prayer for Cincinnati area. I've seen some footage about the Ohio River, so hopefully that will recede and there's not too much damage and cray-cray from that. Wow, I never seen that river rise like that in forever. Anyway, my sweet cousin Niecy, I wished her an early birthday, but today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Niecy. And my BFF, Lori, her son, Landon, the big 21. Happy birthday, Landon. No turn up for you just because you're 21. You don't have to turn up. All right, y'all. Go and have a great rest of your day. And God willing, I'll see you tomorrow.